If you're tasked with a new web design project planning is going to be the difference between a website that's going to meet your goals and drive revenue, or one that's going to completely drain your time and money and all your resources. Let me walk you through how to create a detailed specifications document that can help keep your project on track. Step 1 is write down your goals. Start by writing down what you want your website to actually achieve. Don't just think about what looks nice. Focus on measurable, actionable goals that actually align with your business objectives. Here's a few examples. Increase online sales by 20%. And then you could even break this down a little bit more granular into new customers versus returning customers. Another one could be to generate 50 qualified leads per month through your website. Maybe it's through great downloadable content or just really well done conversion focused landing pages. Write these goals in as specific a way as possible so that you can measure these things after the website's done. Number 2 is understanding your target audience. Beyond just simple demographics, you really need to dive in a lot deeper. Items such as, what are their daily challenges? What problems do they face that your website can actually solve for them? Decision-making process. Define who is the person at your target audience's company that actually makes these decisions. Content preferences. What type of content do they like to consume? In-depth guide, videos, infographics. What resonates with your target audience from a content perspective? And then their technical prowess. So how comfortable are they with modern websites, or do you really need to keep things super simple because maybe they're not as comfortable with tech as other customers? The more detailed you can get with your audience profiling, the better aligned you can make your website. Step 3 is to analyze your competition. Start by jotting down your top 3 to 5 competitors, whether kind of equal competitors or aspirational competitors. And for each, take note of what things they're doing well, what things they suck at, and where your brand can stand out from them. Doing this can help really put this project in perspective on what's out there and, most importantly, how you can differentiate yourself from the pack. Step 4 is to map out your desired website structure. So what are the actual pages going to be on your website, and how are they all going to be organized together? Based on your competitive research that you just did and what you know about your own company's strengths, what pieces of content should you have on your website to meet audience's needs? Think about what content your audience will actually expect to find on a site like yours. From there, move on to wireframing each major section of your website. So wireframes are a visual representation of what goes where on each page of your website, and this wireframe is what's really going to help guide the user experience. What do you want them to do? What do they want to do? And then put those elements in front of them. Getting through the sitemap and the wireframes and really thinking that through is going to be the guiding light in your user's experience on your new site. Now, step 5 is mapping out your content strategy. So you have your site map, you have all the wireframes done. Now what about the actual content that you're going to put on this site? This is going to bridge the gap between the user's problems and how you can solve them and how you can communicate that effectively. So start by jotting down your tone of voice. Are you conversational? Are you sophisticated? Or are you highly technical? How do you want your brand's voice to sound to your target audience? What tone of voice is going to resonate most with them? Once you understand that, you can start figuring out all the different types of content and how you might want to approach them, such as blog articles, videos, graphics, and always align that back to your target audience and your brand's tone. At this point too, you'd be wanting to take a look at SEO. So taking all of your pieces of content that you know that you need on your website and figuring out how people actually search for content like that. Where are they getting the answers to the questions that your content can answer for them? Step 6 is going to be the technical specifications for your website. This is going to greatly impact the scalability and how you actually work with your website and how extensible your website is going to be in the future. Write down all the core functionality that your website needs. You need e-commerce functionality, you need scheduling, you need a wiki, you need lead form generation, any functionality that is going to be needed on this website, you're going to want to make a list of it all. You're also going to want to make a decision on your preferred CMS. This could be WordPress, this could be Shopify, this could be Weebly. There's a million of them out there and they all have their pros and cons. Connective, we pretty much rely exclusively on WordPress. Now you want to write out what your performance goals would be with things like page speed, loading times, and responsiveness, and other performance goals that you might have for this project. You want to get them all listed down as well. Even if you're not a technical expert, educating yourself on this stuff is going to help you communicate better with your web designer or web developer. Step 7 is to define your project budget and timeline. You should have an idea of what the initial project budget should be or what your cap should be. So for example, lots of small websites could be in the $5,000 to $25,000 range, and you get into much bigger and more complex, maybe enterprise sites, you can get well up over 6 figures. Do your market research, ask around, talk to your own finance company on what you can actually afford, and have a budget in mind that you can't exceed. Now take that budget and make it less so that you'll have a contingency in place as projects can have scope creep and you could be hit with change orders down the line. You also want to start mapping out your ongoing costs. So hosting costs, domain name, website maintenance, security, all these are factors that you're going to have to pay for. So it's good to have it mapped out before you start your project. For your project timeline, you want to be realistic and you want to work with your developer on this. Maybe you have a specific event that you need to target to get it live for, but if you don't have those kinds of restrictions, be realistic. Allow people enough time to do their best work because you can have fast or you can have good. Allow enough time for people to do their best work is my best advice for mapping out your own timeline. So now step 8 is selecting an agency to work with. If you are hiring an agency, before you start interviewing the agencies, you definitely want to write down a list of questions that you'll be asking each agency that you talk with. Here's some good examples. What's your approach to project management? How long does a typical website project take? How do you handle change orders? What's your revision policy? Have you worked with other clients in our specific industry? Can you show examples of past work? Pay special attention to their communication style at this phase. This is when that they should be definitely putting their best foot forward. And if you're finding attention to detail issues or lack of responsiveness, it's probably only going to get worse from there. So step 9 is preparing for launch. So obviously your developer should have their own checklist that they're going by, but you should have yours as well. On the dev site, you should do your own browser testing. Check the website in different browsers on different operating systems. You want to ask about getting tracking tools in place like Google Analytics and setting up Google Search Console. You'll also want to ask your developer about redirects. If they're changing URL structures, or if the URLs are going to change or content is going away, what do they have in place to handle redirects to minimize negative SEO impact? And then speed and accessibility. So do your own tests on website speed using Google Page Speed Insights, and just make sure that your website isn't going to be too slow. A smooth website launch comes from thorough preparation. Now that you've written everything out, you should take everything that you've written and share it with other stakeholders or people who you respect. Ask them to beat it up, to add to it, to challenge what you've written here. Once you've finalized this specification document, you're well on your way to a successful website project, and you now have something that you can follow through the entire process to help be your guiding light to make sure that things go as planned.